Hey dude, so this is a game you sent me that is a representative of something that I talked about way back in the beginning of ever doing the Uber Ups build, which is that if you do not use the 2-2 Marine Medevac advantage that you have before Tier 3, you're going to get stumped, because Ultras have AoE and lots of armor, and they're great against Marines. So what happened is that you delayed his little expo for a while with a bunker that you could then salvage, which I think is neat. But the fact that he let you delay it means that he was going either roach or ling speed, in this case both. Because usually a hatch first build gets a hatchery at 220, and you don't have your racks done at that point, so you can't build a bunker to delay his hatch if you build it before you can build bunkers. But anyway, all that's irrelevant. Nothing useful happened in the early part of this game. You were 3 workers behind at 6 minutes, but by the time you got further into the game, you were doing just fine on every category, I believe. So the attack timing we're shooting for is we want to pick a fight. We want to fight the enemy at about 14 to 15 minutes. And the problem was that in this game you didn't fight the enemy until like 19 minutes. And I know it seems like 14 minutes. I mean, 4 extra minutes isn't a big deal, but that was just enough time for him to get ultras. If you watch, he rushed to the hive and then the infestor pit and then the Tier 3 thing, this hive, sorry. So he got it as quick as he could, and even though he got it as quick as he could, he's still not going to have ultras until like 18 or 19 minutes in the game. It's not like you can quickly get ultras. So you'll see the hive up here in the production menu just finished, and he's going to throw down his ultra den right now. So this is a really early ultra den, and you won't usually see things in ultra den this quick. But even with this amazingly quick ultra den, he's still not going to have any ultras until,
upgrade.
I mean, if you exclude just the first one. Now he's making 3.
Ready for dust
And
off.
Ultra Armor is working on it.
Mineral
So, yeah, he didn't have a reasonable number of ultras until 17 minutes into the game. So the problem wasn't that that he got ultras. Oh no, ultras are hard to beat. The problem was that you hit 200 unit space, so now your money's going to pile up because you can't make any more units. Your expo was really late. You're not even getting workers on it until 17 minutes, and you just didn't pick a fight early enough. And I know I say a lot that it's best if you can to pick a fight at your third as you secure it into a planetary fortress, but if he doesn't come fight you there, you have to immediately go hit him. And on top of that, you really want to be setting up this PF right when 2-2 finishes at about 14 or 15 minutes, and you're setting it up at 17 minutes. So pushing these things this far back, the real problem, like at this point, your spending on tech and army together is big enough that you could have won a fight at this point. But now that you're at 200 unit space, he's spending money because he's not at 200 unit space, and you're not, because you're stuck at 200 unit space. You can't do anything now. So by the time the first fight happens, you're going to have like 5,000 bucks in the bank that isn't contributing to your attack, just because you couldn't spend it. There's no way for you to spend it because of the 200 unit space limit, man. So here you come with this drop. And okay, so first of all, you've got a bunch of money in the bank because you've been at 200 unit space for a long time. You really need to attack before this. But second of all, never unload on top of ultras. I mean, come on. You come here to unload, you see the ultras, you go, okay, I'm going to unload down here. And then put just a couple units up here and then do the elevator trick. The elevator trick is where you have half of your guys on the low ground and half on the high ground. And then anyone fighting you on the high ground gets shot by the guys on the low ground that they can't reach, and then you know, keep pulling him to this ledge and pulling him to this ledge, and he can never go down it. And then he splits off and decides to come over here and try to knock you out, but then you just pick your guys up and go up on top and all that kind of stuff. So play with the elevator, abuse the fact that you have medevacs and he has no anti-air. That kind of stuff. So you're doing a 2-pronged attack, you're attacking over here with a bunch of Marines, and you're dropping right on top of the ultras with a couple of Marines. Look at the AoE splash that the ultras are getting to do. Typically, Marine Medevac does not need to take any splash damage at all from ultras, because we need to spread out to avoid banelings anyway, so why not also spread out to avoid the ultras splash? And you didn't spread out at all in this top battle or in this bottom battle. Look how not spread out at all you are. So just think of Ultra Splash as banelings, you know, spread out a little bit. Also, you never really want to be fighting with Marines and no medevacs. Also, it looks like you didn't go for the 3-3 upgrade at all. Also, you have $5,200 in the bank. So, really, you did great, but you should have expoed and attacked at about 14 minutes, and then you would have, you know, done really well in this game. So from here, now you've got this huge pile of cash, and you can't spend it because your infrastructure is just 7 racks, and one of them is naked, so it's really 6.5 racks. And also you've got a tech lab on one of them, and it's making Marines, so that's really another half racks gone. So you basically have 6 racks and 2 starports, and you just can't spend your money off of that. I do tend myself to just make 7 racks and 2 starports and spend the money that way. But if you hit 200 unit space, you get this pile of money. And so to get rid of the pile of money, if you're on 7 racks, 2 starports, you're spending exactly all of the money you bring in. And if you spend exactly all the money you bring in, then you're never dipping into the trust fund. You're never reducing the pile of money you have in the bank. I mean, obviously, also leaving these medevacs here and losing them for no reason was a terrible move as well. So no unit spreading, late attack. And even with no unit spreading and a late attack, you're not really that far behind. In the damage done. Where you're really behind is the fact that he has tier 3, and Marines versus Ultras is really good for the Ultras. So his army is humongoid. He hasn't really lost anything, and he's kept his money low and spent it all. You've got tons of, like, completely maxed out, queued up units. So even though it looks like you finally spent all your money, you didn't. Because these, like, the last Marine in here isn't going to be alive for another, like, 5 minutes, and these medevacs aren't going to be alive for another 5 minutes or something. So, yeah. If you ever find yourself maxed at 200, first of all, that's bad in TVZ. You never want to be maxed, because our goal is to have lots of small battles. Constant reinforcement, suicidal aggression, lots of small battles. But on top of it being bad, you need to immediately throw down a bunch of racks so that you can spend that money. And also, it's nice to throw down extra command centers. Just generally things that will help you later on need to be done with your money, because if you build up $6,000, then you can lose a game in which you had $6,000 more than him. You know? Yeah. So Ultra Roach is just begging for Marauders. Not that I ever make tons and tons of Marauders, but if you ever see Ultras, the second you see the first Ultra, you need to throw down your Ghost Den, get some Tech Labs on some racks, and start making either Ghosts or Marauders. Tech Lab racks are the counter to Roach Ultra for sure. Either Ghosts or Marauders, either one's fine. Marauders are way easier to use, and you know, they're just as good. Ghosts are cuter with snipe, but you have to be able to snipe really well with them. And it also, when you make Ghosts, it interferes with your ability to stem and position your units properly and stuff, so worrisome. One thing to note again about Ultras is that they are melee units, like Lings. So wall-ins and little gaps between racks like you have here work really well against them. So if you go over here to drop and you see a bunch of Ultras and you feel like you can't kill those Ultras, first of all, they're slow, so you can just walk over here and drop on this base, and then when they get here, pick up and walk over here and drop on this base and that kind of stuff. Use the mobility that you have. Stim Marines are quite quick. And medevacs, you know, let you go anywhere you want. And without mutas, he can't stop you from abusing the crap out of medevacs. Never lose any units. Just pick them up, move them somewhere else, pick them up, move them somewhere else, pick them up, move them somewhere else. That's, I like to talk, you know, I've said that a bajillion times. It's a good way to force mutas. And if he makes no mutas and you don't punish him for not making mutas, you're going to be in serious trouble, even if you don't run into the problems that you ran into in this game. Of maxing out without attacking and having just a bunch of unspendable money. So yeah, if he doesn't have mutas, punish him for that. Use medevacs a lot to bounce between all 3 bases and retreat and get away without losing anything, and make him wish, oh, you got away without losing anything, I wish I could have finished off those units that just ran away. And yeah, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Good luck.